Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to be giving you part 14 of What If Naruto was blamed and it changed him. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. If you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, go ahead and comment down below and tell me. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, go ahead and click that red subscribe button as well and join Anime King and Anime King 3. Link will be down in the description for Anime King 3. I'm going to be posting a new episode over there tonight, so go over there and enjoy later on, guys. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last time he left off, Naruto was on the hunt once again, as he made his way as he was going after the Hyuga girl. As he eventually found her, the both of them started a battle as they were in an alleyway. She knew that the moment she saw him, she was going to be killed. The amount of chakra oozing from him and the power that he just seemed to radiate with. She knew that she was going to lose, she just had the feeling, as she knew that she was steering to her death. And eventually she was knocked down to the ground. In their brief talking, he said about Hyuga of the branch house that he knew can do the rotation. So she asked for the name, as he told her that it was Neji. As she died with a smile on her face, and that was the end there. At the meeting, Oniki was expecting for Tsunade to explode in rage for what he did, but the woman was really calm, no sort of anger or rage towards him at all, and that just infuriated him even more. As the meeting went by, they were interrupted by Madara and Pain, as Madara told them what he wanted to do with the tail beasts, and told them about the Jubei. As the group was shocked by that, they would never agree to something like that, as the man declared war on them all, as he will get the 9-tailed Jinchuriki. So with that he went away, along with Pain. They decided to sign a pact of neutrality between each other, as they were going to create an Shinobi alliance to finally take care of the Akatsuki. It was then that Tsunade brought up what Oniki did, as he was stuck in a tight spot now, as he had to face consequences. The pact of neutrality that was signed a long time ago, Oniki had to pay for it, for what he did. He cursed as he couldn't really do anything because all the Kages were here, watching him keenly. So with that out of the way, Tsunade sent Kakashi and a few other ninjas assist him to go and retrieve Naruto. As things was bad now, the Akatsuki was focused on him alone. Meanwhile, Naruto was hunting a Kunoichi that was special when it comes to explosives, as she placed him under a genjutsu trying to corrupt his mind. But Cram was able to snap him out of it, as Naruto then focused the power of the Kyuubi. She started shaking fear as she remembered that power that night. She remembered everything, yes, when that beast came in the village, as she dropped. Naruto wasted no time as he took off her head, ending her life. As Kakashi and the group then appear, Kakashi told him that he had to come with him. Hokage orders. So yeah guys, that's basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So, what do you say we begin this new episode? So far, the first mission between the Alliance Shinobis was a success. The team, formed by all 5 nations, had one objective in mind. Find the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and bring him to the Land of Iron, where the newly formed alliance could decide what to do with him, and provide better protection from the Akatsuki. That was the reason given to Naruto by Kakashi, as the 6 of them made their way. It wouldn't be well if one Akatsuki member appeared out of a sudden, especially Madara himself. Being his ex-student and the only one that knew Naruto personally, Kakashi stood by his side the entire time as they run, as Naruto's dog companion was running with him as well. But Naruto did not question or say anything. Ever since he became a hunter, then Naruto became a lot more reserved, as Kakashi didn't know how he would take the news that he had to stop his job once again. He knew that Naruto wasn't going to accept the situation like that. It was going to be bestowed upon him by the Alliance, to be locked away for his own protection. Someone like him would never accept something like that easily. But seeing that Naruto wasn't saying a single word, Kakashi wondered if he was bottling up all instead. And such behavior wasn't good. Kakashi just hoped that Naruto would trust him enough to tell him his problems. And the both of them can talk it out. The group crossed over Iron Country territory and the temperature dropped. The 5 ninjas of the mission were already used to it, but Naruto didn't show any surprise or any discomfort. His canine companion did not either, as the Grand Castle came in front of them, as Naruto observed the samurais. The group stopped in front of the castle entrance before one samurai opened it. As soon as they entered where the Kages was, the bodyguards returned to the upper level, leaving Naruto and Minato alone to face the 5 Kages. He nodded briefly at Tsunade as he waited there with his arm crossed. The silence allowed him time to observe them a little bit. He knew which village they represented, as he could see the flag behind them. Firstly, the teacher Kage, that midget. He was the only one at the table, apart from Tsunade, that knew who his father was, but Naruto wondered if the man knew that he was one wearing the hunter mask, from the neutral look on his face, as it seems like only he hadn't realized his identity yet. He did need to observe the Kazekage, hence why his eyes landed on Raikage. The man's stature was impressive and quite threatening, but usually when it comes to size, they always lack speed. Lastly, the Mizukage was a woman, a very beautiful woman. She smiled at him, as he wondered her reasons for smiling at a stranger. Of course, he didn't know that she was checking him out from head to toe. Suddenly, the Raikage got from his seat and addressed the hunter then. Kyuubi Jinjulki, this meeting prohibits the use of masks. Please remove it so we can proceed. The look on the Raikage's face said that he was not asking, but Naruto didn't really care. It wasn't like he was from Kumo. Seeing that the Jinjulki had yet to remove his mask, the Raikage, patience, started to waver. Is there a problem with what I said? Remove your mask this instant. Naruto snorted, and that infuriated the Raikage even more. In fact, both Kumo and Jonin shared their master anger at the response. There's only one that has the authority to order such a thing, and that isn't you, Raikage said Naruto. Also, my identity remains a secret, as expected from every hunter named an envoy level shinobi. Despite the seriousness of the situation, both Gaara and Tsunade smirked at the blonde. Naruto's lack of respect for authority was known by both of them, and in their frank opinion, Naruto was right. Only Tsunade had the authority to order Naruto around. Before the Raikage could explode and open his mouth once again, Tsunade spoke. Raikage don't know his identity is irrelevant to you. As he said, only I am privy to set information. The Raikage snorted at her for some time before clearing his throat. The threat posed by the Akatsuki forced this alliance to decide for your protection rather than your participation at this war. As I'm sure you already have been briefed, Akatsuki's final goal is using 9-bit juice to create a new tail beast called the Jubi. Naruto heard the fox snarling inside him. He wondered why this name bothered the fox so much. As such, I have chosen a suitable location for you, which was approved by the other Kages. Each village would choose 2 high-level shinobis that will accompany you. Keeping the Kyuubi from the Akatsuki is our main goal. Naruto was angry, but he did not say anything though, as it would do him no good. Others be known they are sacrificing their life, while he hid like some coward. He understand what he represented in the large scheme of things, so any complaint would fall on deaf ears. As Guy, Kakashi, Tsunade, Gaara, Kankuro, Temari expect him to be outraged and scream at the unfairness of the situation. All of them were ready to stop Naruto from doing something rash. That's why they were all speechless when they heard him spoke. Okay then, when do I leave? Kakashi narrowed his eyes at the blonde for his passive behavior, despite being neglected like this. But like everyone present, he would know much of the situation. After this meeting, we will return to our villages. So each Kage can assign the 2 Jonins. In 3 days from now, you will be escorted to the location. This was the last thing that they need to discuss, so after this, the meeting was over. The Raikage was appointed as the leader of the alliance. Nara Shikaku from Konoha to assist the leader with the structure, and Inoichi Yamanaka to also be there to relay the orders to the generals. And in 1 week time they would gather and choose their next course of action. Naruto waited behind the doors as the Kages finished the last aspect of the meeting. Afterward, the door opened and the Kages left, followed by their respective bodyguards. Tsunade, Guy, and Kakashi looked at Naruto as he was facing the other way. All 3 of them wondered what was passing through his head. As he turned and looked at them, I guess we're going home now, aren't we? Everyone is already gone except them, so Tsunade used the opportunity to talk to him. Naruto, I was hoping that we could talk about this first. But I'm sorry about the situation called for it, she said. Tsunade-sama, he said. You shouldn't apologize for this. After all, I'm merely a tool to be used. The fact that they heard no venom in his words surprised them a lot, as they felt fear as well, that Naruto truly believed that he was a tool to be used. History has shown that to be true, isn't it? Zabuza Momokai regarded Haku as merely a tool for him to use. Itachi Uchiha was a tool used by the village to rid off the Uchihas from Konoha. I was chosen to be the Kaiba Jinchuriki by my father. Believing otherwise would be foolish. It is my duty to follow Hokage orders. Doing otherwise would be foolish. No matter what happened. As he spoke, Kakashi saw an image of Itachi saying the exact same thing. But Kakashi could understand what Naruto was saying, despite what he said to Zabuza and Haku in their battle. Shinobis were just tools used by the Hokage. As a Anvo, he went through situations that no human being should have gone through. Nevertheless, he felt like he failed Naruto on a lot of occasions recently. Guy was surprisingly silent, since Nada was using every bit of her strength to not make her emotions, well, pour out right now. If it was one thing she regretted more than everything in her life, it was to accept Naruto's request to become a hunter nin. But it was too late now. She feared that his will was shattered. Instead of trying to convince him otherwise, she just nodded as she made her way towards the door. As the three of them followed behind her, no one spoke in the trip back to Konoha as Naruto was talking to Kyuubi. I must say I was surprised by her response, or the lack of her response, not that I really care. My only question is, do you truly believe in what you just said? Given these last occasions, I'm inclined to believe, yes. Of course I was angered by their decision, but I can't do anything about it, now can I? We don't know much about the leaders of the organization, so there's no guarantee that I will be able to win if we weren't engaged. In my opinion, the reason behind this is quite pathetic. The Jinchurikis were, and always will, be the vein of existence. But now, they're so intent on protecting me, I want to laugh. Nevertheless, I'm a ninja from Konoha, and there isn't really anything I can do against the order. In a way, you have a lot of time to improve in areas that you lack. We could use this time to improve those earth techniques, and also learn some of the seals from your father's journal. I guess you're right. Perhaps getting used to more tales of power could increase our strength. I could even start to understand Genjutsu better and adapt high-level techniques in requirements to increase our arsenal. Very true, then I believe this time off will work to our advantage. But I can tell that you're afraid of something. Is it fear that you might lose your little girlfriend? It would be a lie if I said otherwise, but being a medic named Hana-chan wouldn't be doing much fighting. At least I hope so. Meanwhile, with Jiraiya. Not aware of what happened at the meeting, Jiraiya was currently inside one of the caves, located 200 miles away from Konoha. This used to be one of the places team used to gather before missions. With time passing, the only member of Sun that used it anymore was Jiraiya. It was filled with a lot of memories, some of them bad, but happy ones as well. As you remember when they discovered the cave, and Tsunade berated him for being so loud. Another memory when Tsunade berated him when he was caught using a cage with a brunette Jonin called Kagumi. He was supposed to be in Konoha right now until Tsunade returned. But this was dead serious. Jiraiya went through hand sign as he opened his mouth as wide as possible. From within, a long tube came out before it hovered in front of him. On top of a gigantic scroll was the head of a toad, with his arm crossed in a bored manner as he looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya realized that it was time for a certain student of his to get what was intended to him before he was even born. As he nodded at the toad named Jaratora, the toad body then opened. A high level Fuinjutsu was inside the scroll. Jiraiya placed both hands inside the two squares on the scroll. For now, the scroll only responded to his chakra, seeing that he was the only bearer of the key. But it was no for Naruto to get what belongs to him. Are you sure about this, Jiraiya? The toad asked. Jiraiya nodded. As sure as I'll ever be. Naruto's growth these last few years show that he's ready to receive it. He is very strong now, but against the Akatsuki, he will need more. From now on, Jaratora, your new home is inside Naruto. As he tweaked the seal once more. The toad didn't look like he agreed with it at all. Is there anything wrong with what I said? Or are you just grumpy? You won't be with me anymore. The toad snorted. No doubt the brat increased in skill, but I have questions unresolved in things. He barely summoned the toads, and when he does, it is just so that Gamakichi can bring the heads of the Mason names to Hokage. Also, according to legend, he should be the one that brings peace to this land. Instead, he's out there killing one by one. Something about his mentality worried me, Jiraiya. What if the fox take advantage of him? Naruto's resolve in ridding the world of criminals isn't supposed to be concerned at this point, Jaratora. Also, it's been too long since he first initiated his job, and he has maintained his sanity just fine. I believe that Brat will be okay. Our main concern is the Akatsuki, and how to prepare Naruto for the future battle. Now we must find the initiate the procedure. But first, I'll return to Konoha and see how the meeting went. Surely, Tsunade must have returned already. The toad nodded and poofed away. Jiraiya then summoned a larger toad as he hopped on his back to make his way back to Konoha. The trip didn't last long as the toad landed right in front of the west gate. Jiraiya had a smile on his face, completely unaware that his toad almost killed Kakashi. Tsunade, Guy, and Naruto arrived at the same time. Needless to say, Tsunade was pissed off. As Jiraiya heard a faint noise as he looked down, only to see Tsunade there, a thick mark throbbing in her forehead. He was surprised that he saw Naruto down there as well as he wondered what was going on. As they made their way towards the Hokage's tower. Once inside, Jiraiya received an explanation of what happened in the meeting. As he frowned a bit when he came towards Naruto's situation, he could see the reason why, but in better opinion, Naruto's strength and chakra could be used better in the front lines. As Naruto was busy caressing his dog Air, not really paying attention, as Jiraiya wondered what was going on through the blonde's head. So was everyone at this point. If he was in Naruto's shoes, many people, they wouldn't understand so easily and give up so quickly. After everything was explained, Sen took a long breath to relay everything to Naruto that she had thought about coming here. Naruto, because of your protection, I have decided to suspend your license of being a hunter nin. The mask was off the minute she spoke. Look in his eyes was empty as she thought it would be. Ever, Konoha ninja, who's participating in this war, will know what the main objective is, so your identity will be breached. Until the war is over, or there won't be a need for you to hunt missing names in the way. Now regarding two shinobi that will accompany you, do you have any names in mind? Before Naruto could even open his mouth, Jiraiya volunteered for the first position. Tsunade nodded as she was already thinking about that. Kakashi will be one of the generals appointed by Konoha, so only one position remained. I then choose Inuzaka Hana as the second, Naruto said. Tsunade was afraid of this, that he would choose his girlfriend. But Hana was a certified medic nin, and she would be under Shizune's assistant squad. She hated herself because she seemed to be only giving him bad news recently. Sir Naruto, but Hana would be with the medic nin corps under Shizune. Naruto frowned a bit but he didn't say anything. He just nodded and opened the door of Hokage's office. Then choose anyone you want, Tsunade-sama, he said. The door was closed before she could even call him back. The three shinobi stared at the door for a while, as a lot of sighs were heard. They started to think on a suitable shinobi to accompany them. In the end, she settled for Yamato, as he had experience with Bijou suppression. With Naruto, as the blonde was walking, Manjutsu had stayed quiet the entire time. As his companion, the dog could feel Naruto's distress over this mess. As they walked towards nowhere, Naruto was receiving shocked looks from everyone. Ever since he became a hunter and only a handful of people knew about it, everyone just believed the fox brat was gone for good. As a woman was walking with a bag of groceries in her hand, the same path that he was going. She had pink hair and she was wearing a red common dress. She looked like a normal civilian. You wouldn't know that she had medical experience that came up to the point of Tsunade's skills. It was none other than Sakura Haruno. The minute her eyes landed on him, Sakura's eyes widened beyond disbelief. Seeing him once more. 2 years. 2 years ago, he left with Jiraiya-sama and she never saw him again. She was shocked. When his eyes turned towards her, then he turned away, like she was nothing but a stranger. She quickly marched up to him. What? You leave for another 2 years and you don't remember me anymore? What's the matter, Naruto? What happened to you all this time and why a strange black outfit? I missed you. Get out of my way, said Naruto. I don't wish to speak to you. The cold tone in his voice surprised her to no end, as he already started to walk off. Sakura stood there stunned. She didn't have the energy to even go after him as she watched him. As a lone tear escaped her eyes, she didn't understand. First Sasuke, now Naruto. Ever since Sasuke suffered spently to have his chakra sealed away, she tried to visit him on a lot of occasions. Eventually, he told her he didn't want anything to do with her and asked her not to return. Her heart was already shattered there. She knew that Naruto would be there for her though when he returned. Now, it seems like she lost the both of them forever. By the end of the day, every ninja in Konoha knew of the meeting between the Kages and the consequences. As Naruto attended the meeting, his eyes showed like he lost all of his fire behind it. But when he turned towards him, he didn't really care. You could see it in his eyes. Their feelings were understandable given that this entire thing was to save one individual. But if they didn't save this one individual, everyone would perish. If Akatsuki got a hold of the fox knife Naruto, then Madara would dominate the elemental nations. Surely, that did a bit of effort to ease the people who thought this war was ludicrous. As one Chunin got rather pissed, accused Naruto for being a demon and that he was responsible for this in the first place. As Naruto wondered if he should give this man time of the day, In the end, he explained that the Bichu was not only one existence, so he could not be blamed. The man knew that he was wrong, but he didn't want to admit it. The Rookie Nine all watched. None of them said anything, even though he did not expect them to. Time skip at the Inozaka compound. It was now night time and they were having dinner, discussing the repercussion of everything. As Hana wanted to be with her boyfriend, but she knew that she had to be there for her duty. The Inuzakas were probably Naruto's biggest supporters right now, as Naruto was there at the clan compound, just in case someone wanted to do something stupid and attack him for what happened, and he might lose himself and do something, well, even worse. Sid Blonde was outside, his eyes closed. His goal was to take care of all the criminals for Konoha and put them down, to stop them. But now he was nothing but a prize that people wanted. Akatsuki will no doubt kill more Konoha ninjas to get to him. The question Naruto ended up asking himself was, is his decision back there was the right one? Sure, this war would occur, regardless of decision. You can't change the course of history, brat. If you could, you would stop the Akatsuki from existing. What you can do is focus on the present and increase your skill in order to beat those imbeciles. It was quite ironic that this passion didn't come from Naruto, but the fox instead. Something inside Naruto just wanted to laugh at this. It was true though. The only thing he could do was train, and with that, he could try to defeat the organization. For some reason, Fox felt excited though, at his host becoming stronger, saying Naruto beat high level shinobi, even without his assistance. That will show that the blonde is a skilled warrior, but he wouldn't say anything about it. Naruto just kept outside. The lights inside started to be switched off, as Hana appeared behind him. He turned briefly and smiled. Naruto, I'm going to bed. Are you going back to your apartment? She asked. She was wondering if you would. I was hoping I could stay a bit longer with you if you don't mind. A smile came to her face as she nodded, as she took his hand and led him to her room with a smile on her face. She had missed him greatly. As soon as they entered, she locked the door and hugged him. This war had many repercussions for Konoha, and even though they didn't like to think about it, death was always something in ninja world. This moment could be their last, and neither of them would waste the opportunity, as they started to kiss passionately. After a while, they wondered why the hell they were still standing, as the both of them took it to the bed. The next day, Naruto looked around the room. Their clothes were ripped to shreds, and some of Hana's sheets were ripped and spread along the floor. They winked at it a bit hard last night, as he didn't remember having such an exciting, wild time, even on the first occasion. Tonight was just extra wild, as he felt his chest a bit, as he still had a little pain there. Her hands, her nails, scratching him hard, as he remembered the fox giggling like a schoolgirl in heat, watching everything. He turned his head as he looked at his girlfriend sleeping. It brought warmth to his already cold heart, as she was the only one that could make him feel this way. There was a knock as the door started to open up, as Tatsumi stood there. The state of the room was quite clear what happened here, but Tatsumi just looked, well, amused. She knew how passionate Inuzaka girls can be when they're with their mates, but the reason for being here wasn't inspiring anyone. Do you have some spare clothes, Naruto? I want to talk to you about something important, she said. As Naruto nodded as she went to the kitchen, he pulled a scroll from his jacket that was torn, as he summoned some new clothes. There was clothes sealed away inside them. He got dressed as he kissed Hana on the forehead as he made his way down to the kitchen. Coffee? Said Tatsumi. Naruto nodded as she poured him some. The both of them sit down at the table. Naruto, she said, as he knew, the Inuzaka clan has one word to live by, and that is loyalty. Loyalty to the village, loyalty to your teammates, loyalty to the member of the clan in your pack. I've seen your relationship with my Hana for a while, and I must say she hasn't been happier. And for that I thank you. Before Tatsumi could finish, Naruto interrupted in a kind manner. There's no need for that, Tatsumi-sama. The feeling is quite mutual. Tatsumi nodded, a smile on her face as she continued what she was saying. Not only are you dating my daughter, but you also have one of her ninkins with you at all times. Isn't that right, Minjutsu-chan? Naruto smiled at Husky sitting at his side. We of the Inuzaka clan consider the opinion of our fellow ninkins. As such, someone is accepted by them. Therefore, you is considered an honorary member of the Inuzaka clan. As such, and clan head, it's my pleasure to give you this. As she was holding on to a box, opening up, there was a necklace with a canine tooth on it, a small one. This represents that you're an honorary member of the Uzumaki clan, and anyone that sees it will know this. Naruto extended his hand and took the necklace, as he placed her on his neck. It's very nice, I appreciate it, Tatsumi-sama. The Uzumaki clan has been nothing but nice to me, and I thank you again for all your help, and everyone in your family. Hana is my girlfriend and Kiba is a dear friend who kept my secret for all these years, when he didn't have to. As an orphan, I never knew what it was to be like part of a clan, or to have a real family or to be that appreciative. And I appreciated so much, said Naruto with a smile. It reminded Asuma so much of the fort. Calm and collective, strong, with a peaceful spirit. She was proud of her daughter's choice for a boyfriend. There is no need to be so formal around me anymore, Naruto. Now I believe you have a lot of things to do today. Tomorrow would be his departure from where he would be taken, to be hidden from the Akatsuki. That meant that he only had today to do what he needed to do. Restocking on supplies. Going to the Hunter Inn location to get a long, nice chat with his boss about his suspended license. Perhaps he could shed some light on what he could focus on in regarding honing his skills further. He had a meeting with the Hokage and Jiraiya at the end of the day, so he had to cross everything off the list before then, and checking upon his properties might not be such a bad idea. He supposed it would be prudent to see if his tenants were taking care of their apartments. Yeah, I do. I think I need to speed things up. I'm expected to meet with the Hokage by the end of the day. Could you tell Hana-chan that I'll return afterwards? Oh, don't worry about her. She has her own duty to fulfill as well, Naruto. Her office does run on its own. I'll be expecting both of you for a nice dinner before the war begins. As Naruto grabbed his hunter mask, he was about to put it on, until he realized his license was suspended. As he sealed away, after saying goodbye to Tatsumi, he left. Hana then came down the stairs. As Tatsumi had a smile on her face, it was no time to tease her daughter what happened last night. Good morning, Mom. Where's Naruto-kun, she said, as she went towards the refrigerator for a glass of milk. He has some business to take care of. He told me that he will come here late afternoon. Now, you're still smiling. Was last night really that good? Hana became beyond red as Tatsumi burst out laughing. I didn't know you had it in you, sweetie. There was even claw marks on his chest. The dogs even acted strange all night. Hana sighed as she sat down, as her mother was really intuitive. Meanwhile, Naruto made his way through the streets before flipping up on a rooftop, as he needed to restock and fix his sword. Afterwards, he would talk to the boss and see what he had for him. As with that, he made his way. Time skip. Departure day. The last day within Konoha passed quickly, and Naruto was currently at the gate waiting for Jiraiya and Yamato. He was accompanied by his girlfriend and 3 dogs. Hana believed that Meininsu probably liked Naruto more than she enjoyed her and the other 2 dogs' company. Regarding Naruto, he did everything that he needed to do. He fixed a dent on his sword and restocked his supplies, a lot of it made for months on the field, as he received some nice tips for training on the field from his boss, some of them regarding genjutsu, the areas that the blonde lacked. When smoke appeared next to them, Naruto breathed out a sigh of leaving her and the dogs. As he turned to her first, please promise me that you'll be safe, Hana-chan. If anything, Hana stopped him by kissing him passionately. I'll be safe, Naruto-kun, don't worry, she said. You just focus on getting stronger than you already are, just in case the Hokage change your mind and decide that you should be on the front line, as I really think you should be. I'll be here when you return and we can be together once again. Everyone, she said. I love you, Naruto-kun. This time tears fell from her eyes as he used his hand and wiped them away. It was hard nowadays to get a smile out of Naruto. It was even hard to see tears in his eyes. But Hana was the first person to say love to him. I love you too, Hana-chan. The sad noise from the dogs, Naruto went down and patted them all, but Meijinsu the most. You take care of Hana-chan for me, okay? Meijinsu nodded as she licked his face. Jiraiya and Yamato just stood outside the gate, waiting for Naruto to finish his goodbyes. It was strange seeing only Hana there with him, because in the past Naruto had many friends. He supposed it was the hunter in position that drove everyone away, seeing that he hid his identity from everyone. But none of them really knew the answer to the question. It was really a shame that things turned out like this, and the acknowledgement that he fought for in the past had shattered. And with that he made his way over. Let's go already, he said. As with that they move off. As there was a small trickle of tear streaming down the blonde face as he wiped it away. Time skip, it took a total of 5 days for Naruto and his bodyguard to reach the Lightning Country port. Both Yamato and Jiraiya were used to silent travels. Both of them had already participated in silent missions through their careers. Missions where they had to assassinate or do something off the record or below the scene. But they weren't prepared for a trip of complete silence. Naruto did not mutter a single word since leaving Konoha, nor did he pay attention to Yamato and Jiraiya trying to start a conversation. Both of them could see that his eyes lacked the usual focus. It worried them. They didn't know how he was dealing with all of this. After the 3rd day of travel, they gave up and let him be until they arrived at destination. He would have to open up to them eventually, since they were scheduled to be at the hideout for a long time. They could only leave the place once the 5 Kages appear and release them. But it wouldn't take that long. The bigger the enemy though, the longer it take for the war to finish. Akatsuki was just composed of a few members, even if each member had the power to level the entire village. That being said, once everything was over, everything would go back normal. Well, as normal as it used to be anyway. Quickly moving through the docks, the team of Konoha shinobis moved toward the ship that would take them towards the destination, and 2 members from each village, with a hidden location chosen by the Raikage himself. As they arrived, the team was surprised to see the Mizukage there, with a member of 7 Swordsman, Kojiro. As far as ninjas of Konoha were concerned, the Kages wouldn't participate in this war, just be commanders, with the exception of Gar, who was appointed as general of the army. The team went aboard and Jiraiya approached Mizukage for some explanation. "Good afternoon, Mizukage-sama. I wasn't aware you would be joining us." Although it was a sensitive mission, Jiraiya couldn't help but check out her figure. Made Hiromi just smile though, she did not care. "Indeed, my part in Jinchuriki protection was decided by the Kages at the last minute. I'm here just in case the Akatsuki finds our location." Jiraiya nodded as he left her alone. Time skip. The ship had set sail, leading towards a secure location. The Mizukage trying to be polite to him, but Naruto was in the mood to talk to anyone. No matter what anyone said, this entire situation was screwed up in his opinion. Hiding him from the Akatsuki was probably the dumbest thing he ever heard of. But he couldn't argue with the Kage decision. Protecting him would stop the Akatsuki from fulfilling their goal. And even if thousands are killed in the process, he was the one that needed protection. He just hoped that they managed to take the Akatsuki down without many casualties. He became a hunter so he can take care of them alone, and now he is to stand by while everyone else fought for him. All of these thoughts were in his head and only one other could hear them besides him. "Would you stop whining already? No one can hear your thoughts but me, and it's been 5 days. Give me a break." Kyuubi shouted at him. "Okay already, I'll stop. I just need to vent out my frustrations, that's all. I'm aware that there's no use complaining." The fox snorted as he stopped Link. Naruto took a long sigh as he looked at the horizon ahead. Whatever he was heading towards was not visible because the only thing he could see was water, water, and water. As he settled his mind and relaxed, complaining non-stop would get him nowhere, as the situation was now irreversible. His only hope was a train, and with that, defeat Akatsuki once and for all. Jiraiya made his way over to Naruto, as Naruto seemed to have a little bit of focus back in his eyes now. Seemed that he was on the calm water. "Seems like you're back in focus." "My thoughts was just elsewhere," said Naruto. "I kept wondering if protecting me was the best alternative to this entire mess. Why protect the weapon that was created to fight in the first place?" Jiraiya frowned at the word weapon but didn't make that much of a deal. The fact that Naruto was talking to him was enough for now. But he knew now that Naruto was going to be busy wondering about these questions in his head. It wasn't healthy for him to worry on such thoughts and dwell on so much things. Even if this entire event was triggered because of a tail beast, he couldn't be held responsible for whoever died because of it. It was a blonde's nature to take responsibility. Even as a Jenny, Naruto was like this. You shouldn't consider yourself as a mere weapon without conscience, Naruto. The need for your protection far exceed the military power or the alliance. Tsunade would not just throw you to the wolves like that. Although you never seem to consider yourself much in detriment to others, you know that you're important to Konoha above all, and you're important to us as a human being as well. Don't ever think that the village only needs you as an asset. As Jiraiya tried to convince him that he wasn't a weapon, even though deep down, not only him, but every shinobi in Konoha is considered as an asset to be used. It's through them that the village economy survives. Naruto remained silent though as he pretended to think about Jiraiya's words. The pervert bought the lie and went to chat with Yamato a bit. Naruto was interrupted once more though, when a man approached him from the left. It was one of the Kumo representatives. Looking at the wardrobe that he was wearing, the man named Moto. His Kumo attire was black all over, with a white standard vest, with a white scarf around his neck, white battle boots as well, and white arm bracers. His hair was weird in Naruto's opinion. It was black and had the form of 3 spikes coming down to his face, and long spikes jutting out at the back. You're the Kyuubi Jinchuriki, correct? Answer the obvious question, but Motoi wasn't really waiting for one. He just used his way of approach to begin the conversation. My name is Motoi, and I'm one of the 2 representatives from Kumo with Dode. Over there with the hat, it's a pleasure to meet you. Naruto merely shook the man's hand and greeted him back, earning him a smile. Now that the pleasantries are over, I feel like it's important to explain a few things about the place we're in right now. Ah yes, all I know is that it's an island that doesn't appear in the map. I was wondering why. Motoi smiled at knowledge. The place was indeed the world's best hiding place. Of course it wasn't registered in any map because it couldn't be considered an island. The island, let's call this place as such, is 20 miles, the direction we're heading to right now. It is mainly filled with wild vegetation and gigantic animals. In a way, it's similar to Konoha's famous Forest of Death. No human lives at the island, which is why he's considered one of the best hiding spots in the elemental nations. The other reason, which should be the main one, is that the island is not the island in the first place. Naruto raised the eyebrow, as Motoi smirked once more. You will know what I'm talking about once we arrive. With that, Motoi turned and went over, giving Naruto a small nod. As Naruto wondered what he was talking about, as everyone knew that a land surrounded by water was considered an island. The trip then proceeded after that as Naruto simply relaxed and sit back. He was now standing right in front of a ship, like he was the captain. Eventually Naruto opened his eyes and Motoi said that they arrived to the island. From the position that Naruto was, he couldn't see anything out of the ordinary. The trees were enormous, even if the vessel was 2 miles away from the dock. Naruto couldn't see why it couldn't be considered an island. As the ship then turned, they didn't need to change course. The island was straight ahead, so what was going on? As he then realized the ship was following the island's movement. Naruto was shocked as Motoi appeared next to him. It appeared like you understand what I was talking about earlier. Even if you don't know why, you can see the island's moving. Yes, why is that? Naruto said. The island, if you still want to call it that, is actually a gigantic tortoise. You will only be able to see it if you got underwater. That is why it's not registered in any map of all. The reason why Akatsuki cannot appear here. We will be in constant movement through the ocean. Actually, this is the place where the 4th Raikage and his brother Killer Bee Sami used to train together. Me is still rest in peace right now. Naruto knew that his Killer Bee purse was actually Hatsubi Jinjulki. But what he didn't know was that Pain went after Killer Bee himself and captured Bee and took the 8 tails. As Naruto felt great sadness coming from Motoi. From the sound of your voice, I take it that you were a friend with this Killer Bee. Motoi saw that he was really transparent, but he didn't hesitate to tell Naruto the truth. When we were children, Killer Bee and me, the Hatsubi, belonging to another Jinjulki, the man had skills that far exceed anything, but the beast's will was just too powerful for him to contain. It escaped from his body, killing him. The 3rd Raikage engaged in a battle with the beast. Many shinobis perished, including my father. After the beast was finally imprisoned once more, Killer Bee was chosen as the next Jinjulki. Motoi waited for Naruto to digest the first part. As he continued, I grew up resenting the beast, and because Killer Bee was a Jinjulki, I ended up resenting him as well. Killer Bee, despite being hated and feared by the people, never lost his cheerful attitude as I watched him from afar, believing that he was the one responsible for my father's death. One time I took enough courage and got within striking position behind him. I was driven by revenge and I wanted to finish it once and for all. The consequences be damned. Motoi looked down suddenly. I could go down with it though. I didn't have the will to push forward. At the moment he turned and saw me and offered me a smile with his fists. That was his form of greeting. Later I knew that he was aware that I was behind him. He knew what I intended to do. Nevertheless, not once did he lose the intention of becoming my friend. Then it was thanks to him that I managed to let go, and I became eternally grateful. It's nice to have someone to count on. We Jinjulki don't get normal life like the others. At least he died knowing that he would be missed. Motoi looked at Naruto, wondering what he meant by that statement. Kumo was probably the only place that Jinjulkis weren't scorned. They were held as heroes for keeping the beast at bay for the sake of the population. It was the ideal by the Raikage. Not only did it protect Kumo, but it also brought strength to the village. Having 2-tailed beasts was considered advantage by many in Kumo terms when it comes to war. Motoi think that even Konoha would think twice before going against Kumo nowadays when they had their 2 Jinjulkis. He didn't know how a Jinjulki was raised in Konoha though, but given from the expression that he just got from Naruto and the way the boy seemed to be down, it was probably bad. The group made their way towards the island, the floating island that was actually a turtle, as Motoi realized that Naruto was the exact opposite of Killer Bee. Along the way here, or what his friend could have succumbed to, Naruto joined Jiraiya and Yamato were about to walk away until the Mizukage came over. The 3 may be distant from the others and explored the island, but the Mizukage was the one chosen by the other Kages and herself to protect Naruto personally. But none of the 3 Konoha ninjas enjoy her company right now. Well, Jiraiya's perverted mind was comparing if her boobs were bigger than Tsunadi's, but they didn't voice their opinions out loud. The rest of the bodyguards went toward the cabins that were built there recently. The group was walking as Naruto was looking around his surroundings. He could see a bunch of animals lurking behind the trees as the humans invade their territory. The only one who had authorization for such a thing was the Hatsubi Jinjulki. Jiraiya wasn't even looking around, meaning that he knew where he was heading towards. You seem to know where you're going, Jiraiya. Jiraiya nodded as he pulled out a map that he acquired from the Hokage. In this map, there's a cave, not too far from here where we can begin your next level of training. I'm sure that the Mizukage wouldn't mind a bit of training. The woman simply shrugged, as she had the highest rank here. Not that any of them were Miss Shinobis, but still, for the Alliance. What form of training are we talking about? Naruto asked. Jiraiya smiled as he looked down towards Naruto's stomach. You will be master in the Kyuubi chakra, of course. Neither Yamato or the music guy can understand why Naruto stiffened a bit as he kept on walking. It appeared like he was afraid of what Jiraiya was talking about. The pervert, though, understood why. Despite Naruto talking to the fox, the influence of the power, last time Jiraiya was on the receiving end as he nearly died, as he rubbed the scar in his chest, caused by Naruto's attack. That was the second time he was near to death, so you understand Naruto's reluctance. Don't worry about what happened in time, Naruto. You've become a lot skilled since then. I'm sure that you'll be fine. I have another ace in the hole to use as well, which will aid you. Naruto remembered the last two times when he used Four Tails, his skin was corrosive, his blood was too hot, and he couldn't control his actions. He didn't know if the fox was the one dictating his thoughts, or just became a berserker, just attacking who was ever in front of him. I just hope that if anything go wrong, you will be able to stop me this time. Mei and Yamato were surprised. Was he saying that the Sani Jiraiya was barely able to stop him last time? You probably don't remember, but the seal that Kakashi used on you was my creation. And I have better precautions this time. You will know soon enough. Naruto tried to remember, as he remembered that fight with Deidara, the Akatsuki member. At the time he remembered using a second tail, when Kakashi appeared and placed a seal on his forehead. Seconds afterwards, the fox's chakra was out of his system and his seal was glowing and he was tired. But what if he was using the 4 tails or higher? Would the seal work then? What are your thoughts? Why are you so silent now, Furball? Naruto asked. But the fox was completely silent as Naruto wondered what the hell was going on. The group resumed their trip towards the cave, when Naruto stopped and turned to the right, as he saw a small waterfall, with a small land right in the middle. Something about this entire scenario appeared to be calling out to him somehow. Strange. Jiraiya looked at Naruto. He took this route because he wanted Naruto to look at the waterfall. Of course, he wasn't counting on the blonde going there by himself, but it worked in the end. For Jiraiya trained to work, Naruto needed to remember something he'd forgotten a long time ago, and the only one that can tell him that was himself. From what information I was able to gather about this island, said Jiraiya, this place is called the Waterfall of Truth, and it was used by the Hatsubi Jinchuriki a long time ago with his training with the Biju. You have to take a seat at that bunker over there and close your eyes to see who you truly are. Naruto looked at Jiraiya as he pondered the meaning behind those words. He made his way over there as he jumped towards the small land, sitting down as he closed his eyes. According to Jiraiya, this waterfall will show him what he really is. Those words sounded strange. Who he really is? He hasn't changed that much. Well, he perhaps changed since he became 100 in, but not that much, right? For a while, nothing happened and he was about to open his eyes. Until he felt something as he opened his eyes. But the place looked strange, like he had moved away to a different era. The waterfall was still there as a black silhouette was coming towards him through it. Why do you have to kill all those people? A voice said from the waterfall. Naruto reached towards his blade. A person came from the waterfall looking... It was... Who are you? Said Naruto. This must be wrong or something. Can't you tell by just looking? I am you, well, at least a part of you. Until the day Asuma sensei was killed. Since then, you've been driving me away. The other Naruto face looked rather sad. He looked to be a sad, weeping child. Naruto looked at his strange counterpart, studying him. As he remembered what Jiraiya said to him earlier, Jiraiya said that he need to believe and see who he is. But this Naruto in front of him was a naive, stupid, idiotic child that believed that everyone deserved a second chance. All of the lives I took are from criminals, and if you say who you are, you know that they couldn't be left alive. What if one of them came back and killed the ones precious to us, huh? Sure, the first kill shocked him, but it was necessary to rid Konoha of all their criminals. I know that the reasons are justified, but acting like this. You're saying that it's justified to kill all those who wronged us in the past. They were criminals too in our book. Not to mention some of the life that you took, those people weren't even criminals. One last third of humanity allowed to spare that woman life that ran away from the village because of that Shisui guy. But what about the Hyuga? She had already lost, but we killed her anyway. You did not hesitate to slice her head off, all because of that stupid book. Naruto looked at his alter ego. Of course, he knew what he was talking about. Nevertheless, in his mind, he did what was needed of him. You're still thinking that we're just a mindless weapon right now, aren't you? We only serve as a tool for Tsunade-bachan to use at her disposal. Eros-sennin is right. We can't think like this. We are different from people like Zabuza or Haku. Why the hell don't you just get out of here, said Naruto. I'm not interested in wasting my time here discussing our actions. Well, I'm you, said Alter Naruto. You can't get rid of me no matter what you try. That being said, I will have to force it upon you. He created a second and rushed toward Naruto. Naruto evaded the attack and brought out his blade. as Alter Naruto brought out that sword as well. The both of them clashed violently. Outside, the three shinobis were watching as Naruto was sitting there, eyes closed. According to Jiraiya, this waterfall show a ninja true color. He explained that right now Naruto must be fighting against his alter ego for dominance. Back inside Naruto's mind, this fake copy of himself, whatever it is, had the same skills, the same speed, same strength. All moves, everything that he had, all attacks. But Naruto was getting tired after using so many jutsus, but his alter ego seemed to be okay. As he was on the ground, as he was looking, it was indeed him, even if he was different. Jiraiya could not have manipulated this because he did not have access to Naruto report, only the Hunter in Commander had. And he realized there was only one way to get rid of this alter ego, as Naruto propped himself up to his feet. There's no use using force against you, you're me after all, so you know every move I'll make and I know what you're gonna do as well. The only way to get rid of you is to admit that what I did was wrong. Indeed, going on a killing spree cannot be the answer to a peaceful future. Alter Naruto smiled at that. However, he stopped smiling. A criminal won't stop being a criminal even if his executioner show mercy. In letting them live, we're letting the chance of them coming up with something, and that always lead to more people dying. Perhaps before Asuma's death, we were naive to the world. We believed that everything could be fixed with perseverance and hard work. But we both know that there's those out there that will not stop until the world is burned. People out there like that is alive. And I cannot be naive and stupid anymore. And those who run Konoha, I can't let them survive. Alter, Naruto tried to scream at him to make him think otherwise, but Naruto stopped him. And for you to be here and exist, that means I felt remorse for taking the life of those criminals. That being said, from now on, I will follow another set of mine. A criminal is a criminal, no matter what he or she has done. But instead of killing everyone, I'll reserve the killing for if they actually deserve it. The rest will be incapacitated and taken back to the village. It won't mean their salvation, but at least it will be different. The moment Naruto looked back up, Alter Naruto was standing there, with a big goofy smile. It's good to know that you still maintain your stubborn personality. We defy odds all day. And it's good to see that. Alter Naruto extended his hand as Naruto took it, as he shook hand. But guys, if you ain't subscribed right here, if you want the next part of this, something to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for Animaking 3. I'm going to be posting a new episode over there, so I hope you guys do enjoy. And remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice, and you enjoy the videos on both Animaking and Animaking 3, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Animaking family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace guys.